before explaining how deal with how is our water governance system, I would like to explain how the Spanish administration works. The Spanish administration is divided in three levels: state administration, that in a legal frame they are in charge of the basis of the environmental water issues, and they manage the water resources when in basins that occupy more than one autonomous community. The unit of management, water management, is the watershed. Like I see, I checked in the rest of the country, most of you. The water autonomous community is in charge of the has delegated powers, the policy function, and invest to improve the management through facilities. Apart from that, in the most of the case, the autonomous communities are in charge to treat the wastewater. And in the third level of administration in Spain is supply drinking water to households and industries, and collect the wastewater and send to the wastewater treatment plant that are managed by the autonomous community. Saying that, I'm going to start with the governance of all our non-conventional water resources. The first, our topic is precisely the water reuse governance. As you said, Murcia is reusing the 98% of our wastewater. The water reuse issue is not understood in region that there is more water than enough, because the problem of the water reuse is precisely the social rejection. People have no problem to consume vegetable grown with manure, but they don't eat products watered by water reuse. It's something is a real fact, and it's very complicated to overtake. In the successful case of Murcia region is that in the 90s, as Pedro Simón said yesterday, the value of water reuse was negligible, almost zero. And now, as I said before, we are reduce a volume of 110 cubic meter with 90%, more than 90% of our water treated, with a 75% of direct reuse with tertiary treatment. And the second point is indirect reuse. What means indirect reuse? When you treat the water, discharge into a river, and downstream, the farmers take out similar amount of water to irrigate their crops. What are the key point of this increasing? High agricultural demand, a clear and transparent governance system, an efficient financing system, a sustainable planning, and promotion of the water reuse. Our key point of the governance system was Esamor. Esamor is the company that yesterday we met with the general director, that is Pedro Simón. The creation of this public entity dedicated to only for treating the wastewater has been key in order to improve our data about the water reuse. What is the key point? The sanitation levy. It's a tax that is only used to treat the water. This is our system. It's, for example, in the most of the cases in Italy, the the task for treating the water is mixed with, for example, to other services to the population, like, for example, to collect the and treat the garbage. In our case, our tax is only paid for the user for only treating the water. The key point to guarantee this is a key point to guarantee the compliance of the environmental principles. Polluters should pay. This tax is very useful to control the waster through the tariff. In this route, of nothing reduced to 98% of reuse, Murcia region have, I could give you, I can remark several things. It's very important to have a very good financing system through the tariff. That because without money nothing can do. And it is very important a good planning system that is carried out by the watershed authority or River Segura. That, for example, we have an inventory of the water or the available water reuse concession. That allows that if you are a user, you are interested to irrigate with this water, a very transparent administrative procedure to access to this water resources with this condition, but the conditions are very transparent, and it is very important to create a good cost recovery, because if you have a good cost recovery system, the wastewater treatment plant can't be improved. Okay, in our water governance cycle, one of the weakest point is precisely the concurrence responsibility. In water is supplied in the most of the cases by superficial resources that are managed by the watershed authority. The municipality are in charge to supply that water to the household and the industries. The industries collect in the sewage system and send the wastewater to the wastewater treatment the treatment plants that are managed by the autonomous community of Murcia region. After that, that water is sent to the irrigator community to be, in the case of the direct reuse. But however, in the indirect reuse, there is another step. That is to send the water to the river, discharge the water into the river. That is managed again by the watershed authority, and after that is supplied to the irrigator community or directly to the user. This is a very complex system of the governance system, because there are many administration participating, and there is something very important in this kind of this water resources, that is warranty the microbiological quality of the water. Now is very important that the implication of the irrigator community and the user to show a good traceability system in order, if in the market, for example, someone finds Escherichia coli, for example, in a vegetable, you can prove that this Escherichia coli is not ours. That's why it's so important the implication of the farmers and the irrigator community. Another point that has been promoted the water reuse in my region has been the we have used ARDF funds in order to join the point of treatment in the wastewater treatment plant with the irrigator community facilities. Otherwise, if the farmers have another option, because of the additional implication of the agriculture of the water reuse, it's going to be more complicated for them to think about water reuse. And this has been one of the most important points in order to promote the water reuse in Murcia region. Okay, now we are going to talk about the desalinated water governance. I make sure that it's simpler, because there is the system is managed by watershed authority. If the desalination plant is national, but there are other plants that are managed by the autonomous community. And the system is very simple. It's autonomous or watershed authority to municipality if the water is used for water supply of households, or if for the agricultural activities the scheme is watershed authority or autonomous community, and directly to irrigator community. The problem of the water, the key point of the desalinated water governance is to cover the needs. And to cover the needs, you need 25 hours, 7 days per week, because otherwise it's impossible to achieve the water when you need it. The weakest point is the high cost of production, because you need to achieve around 70 bar per cubic meter. It's unaffordable for the most of the farmers. It's possible for maybe for household, but it's impossible for farming. This problem open the issue of if the public administration should grant the cost of the obtention of desalinated water, because apart from that, they have a high cost of pumping, because the desalinated water is achieved at sea level, and in the most of the cases you need to pump in order to increase the quotation. And another point that you need to deal with is the brine, where should be discharged. About harvesting and drainage water governance, harvesting water and drainage water for me are more or less the same, because the only difference is harvesting water is on the soil, and drainage water is under the soil. But more or less has a different governance. I tried to sum up the two possible situations with a very simple draw. The situation in the reality is much more complicated, but in order to understand the issue of harvesting or drainage water, is more or less when the water is collected in a microbasin, and this microbasin only belongs to one user, that with the permission or concession of the water authority, you can take advantage of this water. The other possibilities on the right. The right, when the water collected is on in several plot of lands, because this concession should be affect all the rest of all the users. In reality, even in Murcia, with our problem of water scarcity, there are a few cases of concession of harvesting water, or water collected by microbasin. The usual situation is the harvesting water is collected by public facilities, and these public facilities send that water, like European regulation of reuse, because it's water reuse, harvesting water, is sent to the wastewater treatment plant, and after that is take advantage make the most by the farmer. It's the usual situation in Murcia. Now I would like to talk about Tagus Segura transfer governance, because it was a point that I wasn't talk about it, but however, in the conversation yesterday in the restaurant with all of you, it's a topic that is interesting for you. In the case of the transfer, in order to define the background, is a transfer is in a national plan that was published in 1933. That is the Tagus transfer, Tagus and Segura transfer, was a second phase of a national plan. The first phase was going to be the connection between Ebrus and Tagus, but in the end, because of the political circumstances, it only built the second phase, Tagus and Segura. The issue, the Tagus Segura transfer is based on the principle that water can be moved, not the climate. But the main issue of the transfer is it should be balanced between the donor and recipient. Otherwise, it's very easy to be used politically, especially in the donor region. The uses of the water transfers in Murcia is supply household and irrigation purpose. That has a great rejection in the donor autonomous community. Despite that, the Union of Exploitation of Tagus Segura has given more than 575 million of euros to build facilities in surrounding towns of to the channel, to make works to invest in this area. And however, essential works like sanitation systems, or I think they were intentionally delayed. Now there is a rejection, a social rejection with this transfer. The lesson, in order to sum up the everything that I said in this presentation, our lesson learned due to the climate change is the surface water is very complicated to guarantee the supply the more and more. The groundwater, we have also problem to cover our needs only with groundwater, and more and more there is water pollution is a fact in most of the groundwater. The water reuse is more and more necessary to cover the needs because although it's honest, is only a few parts of our water resources. The water reuse is steady on time. Is steady on time. That means that is more or less the same supply in October that or November that there are it usually rains. That for in the summer period that is the most problematic to face. About the water salinated is the more and more is very important to cover the needs, but it's the last option because of the cost of the pumping and the cost of the to reach that 70 bar necessary to desalinate the water. The rainwater the rainwater harvesting and drainage water is a new opportunity, but the governance system now is very complicated to access to these resources. And that's all. If you have any other question, is the moment the right place to do it. More or less. It's very complicated. It's very complicated to know to have an estimation cover that water resources because the electricity there happens in different with return periods more or less more than 30, 40, 50, even one even 100 years. It's very complicated to estimate the volume. I think the more and more we need to work on this, but the problem is that there are many administrations working on that. In that case, the facilities are built by autonomous community, especially close to the cities, for where the water authority has to change function and also make a lot of facilities. But there is, I think, in my opinion, everybody does the things in their own. There is, it's complicated to make an estimation. I don't know if I answered your question. I think in Luara Valley, you can have heavy rains very frequently. In our case, it can rain more or less the same, but with a return period very long, a lot of years. It's complicated. For example, I don't know if you remember when the nightmare of the bus of yesterday. There was a great channel that this is the Tagus Segura. However, the irrigator community of Campo de Cartagena, they are using that channel in order to collect harvesting rain because are placed in the lowest point of the route. Sometimes they say that they have collected more than 2 or 3 cubic hectometers only with the channel. Maybe should be more experienced like that, but now it's complicated to give a data. Is there any other question? Jasper? Mm, this is a very, very hard question because Jasper, um, the responsibility of keeping the sewage system is for the municipality. But not. But the problem is, this is a hard question because if the municipality is powerful, they have means to the sewage system network. If the municipality is, for example, a little town, it's very problematic because they don't have enough means to cover the cost. There's another important issue is that this urban consolidated areas is complicated to improve the sewage system network. In the case of separated networks, it's very easy. It's very easy because new urban areas is also easy to do it. But in the most of the cases, municipality need to go for a public procurement to in charge the works. If it's a small municipality with less contributors, they need to ask the work for the autonomous community because it's impossible that cover the cost. I don't know. It's a 99%. One of our data that we proud of it is precisely the percentage of treated water in Murcia because it's very high. It's 99.7 more or less. It's absolutely high. The other data is the 98% of reuse, but you need to consider that we include in that data the 33% of indirect reuse. Because what we really consider direct reuse all the wastewater treatment plants that are connected with the irrigator community. Otherwise, it's impossible to read that data. Okay, the issue of the best desirable situation is separative network. The problem is it's impossible with urban consolidated urban areas. It's only the only possibility. When we use combined sewage system or unitary network, is when there is any other option because if for example in the case of Torre Pacheco it's impossible to because the whole town is very complicated to build a separative network because you need to disturb the neighborhood. The only issue is that I wanted to show in the visit is precisely you need much more space for unitary network because the capacity is very easy to be collapsed. Ye- Yes, I think we should learn from France about. No, it's true because yesterday in our conversation is true. Murcia has a great technology, but however, I think you lack more solution based on the nature in order to in our case, as I said, I told you before that we have a great problem because the solution based on the nature is more feasible or more interesting for Murcia is the artificial wetlands. Is nobody wants an artificial wetland close to the neighborhood because of the problem of the mosquitoes. Um, and the problem is the temperature is so high. The festiveness is good, but however it require space, and we don't have a space in Murcia to do that because most of the soil is occupied with agricultural activity. It's a very interesting issue. This I think it's time to, if there is any other question, it's time to make a coffee break. In 20 minutes we come back again here. Okay.